Today, the fitness industry and culture are bigger than ever. According to the stats from the Good Body website, 1 in 5 adults in the US exercises daily. And other stats on this image are just fascinating as well, which proves my point. And all of you who are watching this video right now know that you gain muscles in many different ways from exercising somehow. But have you ever wondered why some people gain muscles more and faster than others? If you have ever gone to the gym, you might have noticed and wondered about this question too. And that's why I'm here today, to fulfill you guys' curiosity by going over different factors that can affect your muscle growth. I know that there can be an unlimited amount of factors, but let's talk about some key important factors today. Factor number 1, genetics. Let's talk about an uncontrollable factor first. A factor that you're born with, and a factor that you're set with the rest of your life. Genetics. We all are born with different genetics, which can decide our height, appearance, or muscles. We all know some people, just naturally, have more muscles than others, and this fact plays a huge role when we want to grow muscles by lifting weights. But why? Giselle Castro-Sloboda, who is a fitness and nutrition writer for CNET, says that researchers have found that two genes, which are ACTN3 and the ACE genes, play the most important role in having the number of muscle fibers that we're born with. ACTN3 genes is known that helps create a protein, which is a significant source of muscle building. Referring to the same article, the length of our tendons can affect our muscle growth too. Some people have longer tendons than others, and sorry for them, it is known that having shorter tendons makes you gain bigger muscles than others who have longer tendons. But remember, in our life, there are many things that we don't have control, but by putting our efforts into what we can control, we can reach our true potential. Genius is 1% talent and 99% hard work. Albert Einstein. And let's talk about some controllable factors next. Factor 2, nutrition. What do you eat every day? Do you eat good or bad? Or do you know whether what you're eating might affect your muscle growth or not? One of the most important factors that we can control is nutrition. If you're not seeing a significant difference in your muscle mass, even though you work out every day and put it forth, you should check how you're eating first. 3 macronutrients, protein, carbohydrates, and fats, affect the most that decide your feet. The ratio of your intake of these 3 nutrients is extremely important, and I can tell you that protein is the most important nutrient that you should consider about in muscle growth. According to the article from Medical News Today, current guidelines recommend us to consume 56 grams of protein for adult males and 46 grams for females. I mean, if you work out, you should definitely consume more protein, and here's why. Critical Reviews in Food Science and Nutrition, which is a scholarly article, says growth in the girth of the muscle fibers appears to take place by the splitting, the myofibrillis. In order for this to happen, a new fibril protein must be synthesized and deposited in the muscle cells. Now, you might notice that you're hearing the word protein a lot. Yes, I'll be straightforward to you all. You need to consume enough protein to gain muscles, which is a growth in fiber diameter and increase in muscle weight. Surprisingly, protein is everywhere with you. The most common food that has protein is meat, fish, eggs, milk, cheese, soybeans, tofu, beans, lentils, nuts, and seeds. It is good to diversify your protein intake sources in order for muscle protein synthesis to happen actively. And you might enjoy some of this food daily, so why don't you start controlling your diet? People who care about more their diets will show better results in muscle growth. Factor 3, habits. Let's talk about some of the habits that can affect our muscle growth. What I mean by habits, I want to talk about consistency. Can you be consistent with your action and the effort that you put into exercising? According to Adam and Justin from Mind Pump Show in their YouTube video, a person needs to have a lifestyle that is conducive to muscle building. We need to put our bodies into the best condition that is conducive to muscle building. Most of us know the difference between good and bad habits, and I want to focus on those good habits that are related to muscle building. Going to the gym, eating well-balanced diets, and having enough rest are three key important habits that can differentiate us from others in muscle growth. Let's say there's one person who works out all the time, but not eating well and not having enough rest will not show the best result for that person compared to the other who prioritizes all good habits in muscle growth. I mean, outliers with great genetics might show better results than others without having good habits, but they won't be able to reach their true potential with controlled habits. Factor number 4, the way you lift weights. When you go to the gym to lift the weights for the first time, would you know what you're doing without any help or information? Would you know the correct forms for each exercise that you're doing? Probably not. I mean, if you do, you're like a newborn baby that can speak 5 languages. In order to make optimum muscle growth, you need to have resistance training with the correct forms and proper weights. For example, let's say you do bench press. The main target muscles of bench press are your chest muscles with triceps and shoulders on the minor side. If you do it without the correct form, you will end up using your joint and minor muscles into your major muscles, which would cause injury. I've been lifting weights for years, and from what I observe in the gym every day, those with greater muscle mass showed proper forms and they use proper weights they can control. What I mean by proper weights to lift is when I went to the gym for the first time, I lifted weights that I can lift, not control. When you use your joints a lot in lifting weights, you might be able to lift heavier weights, but those heavy weights would end up damaging your joints, not your targeted muscles. From my personal experience, I could see the difference in my muscle mass when I lifted the weights with proper forms and more controlled speed. Muscle mass and strength are totally different things. When I lifted heavier weights with joints and improper forms, I was strong, but I didn't look strong. With my personal perspective and years of experience, you can maximize damaging your muscles by lifting the lightest weights in the heaviest way. Having a coach who is professional about the exercise you're doing is a great option, but if you don't, watch some YouTube video or do some research about the exercise you're doing to get the best results out of it. It is true that we can't do anything about our genetics and uncontrollable factors unless we use steroids, but no, that's not good. Many people work out for different reasons. Some people work out to stay healthy, to be physically attractive, or to have fun. Personally, I started working out because I found really fun for me. With controllable factors, we have to be consistent with them to reach the true potential of our genetics. Sometimes we might not see the results. We might compare ourselves to the others and we conclude that an uncontrollable factor, genetic, is the reason. But that's an excuse. Let's not worry about things that we can't control. And let's start focusing on what we can do with controllable factors that I talked about to be the best version of ourselves.